Welcome to another episode of His Story, His Glory. We're out here in the park and we're just talking about living together before marriage and is it wise and our thoughts on it. And yeah, we can get right into it. What are your thoughts on living together before marriage?
Just a few of my thoughts for the ladies, and you can speak more on the guys. I feel like when you're living with your boyfriend and you're giving him everything that you'll give, like everything that he is expected to receive as a husband, he's not really going to be eager to want to marry you. And I know for a lot of ladies, like whether you're a Christian or not, like your dream is to become a wife and have kids and everything that comes around it. But if you're giving a guy all the things that he wants from you, whether it's like you're cooking him dinner, washing his clothes, you guys are intimate together, he's not going to be too eager of wanting to marry you, because it's like, why should we get married? I know a lot of times guys are like, why should we get married? Like, we're fine. And I feel like you're not a wife yet, and that's a responsibility of a wife, and a girlfriend is like different. So that's one of the reasons I thought about like just waiting before living together, waiting until you get married, to have that commitment, especially if you're going to commit to doing all the things that you're supposed to do as a wife. So
Man,
those are my thoughts.
Those are great points, and I think if you are already living together before marriage, then your marriage can still work out. I think there's no shame there, but I think just God's design is countercultural to the world, and as far as God's design to be sexually pure before marriage. So this is a Christian channel, so just fleeing from sin, literally running away from sexual sin, is totally opposite if you're living with your partner. And is it possible to remain sexually pure living together? Sure, it's possible, but it decreases your chances greatly, and definitely I think it's not wise. So I think for us, we didn't live together until marriage, and I think that was really beneficial, and it made things really special from just from being intimate to just getting to know each other and getting to know the little things about each other and being surprised about just the little things, the quirky things that we do. And what are some things about me that you didn't know until living with me?
I didn't know before living with you. I don't know if I can say that on camera without your permission. So we'll talk about that and get back to you guys about that one. But I wanted to share a little bit about just us and the reasons why we decided not to live together before getting married. One is like temptation is real, just as my husband shared. Temptation is real, and we wanted to be pure at all costs. And even in our dating relationship, like we really was serious about like how much time we spent together, the time period we were together. Like if it was too late, we'll be like, okay, it's getting late. Like he'll go to wherever he was at, and then I'll go to wherever I was at. And now getting married, I know a lot of times people are like, well, I think that, how are you supposed to know how the person is without like testing the waters, without seeing how it is before making that commitment? And I know that's something that I hear a lot. So as Mikal shared, like there's a lot of things that I learned about him that I was just like, oh, okay. And then it's same for me, like there's a lot of things that he learned about me that's just like, okay, I gotta get used to it. And I think it's great that way, because one, it's just like we're able to talk about it and figure things out, and also communicate with one another, because I had a way of living before I lived with him. So it's now I'm like, now we're living together, I have to, one, respect different things that he's used to, and he has to respect different things that I'm used to, and then we have to come together to an agreement of like, okay, this is okay, but this, you got to work on this. And I feel like with being married and working on those things, it definitely help us grow in our relationship with one another, but also our communication. So don't let that be one of your main reasons of like, oh, we need to test the waters first. Don't be afraid to work through things when you're married, or come to like an agreement on certain things. And you know, a lot of times you got to get out of yourself, like, okay, now I'm living with somebody, I have to consider this person and not just myself. So wanted to share that, and I'll get back to you about some things that I learned about my husband.
Yeah, I think you can definitely get to know people without living with them. I think that's definitely a lie. You know, you can get to know someone by going on dates and spending time together, quality time. And yeah, you don't have to know everything by living together. There's things that you just know about your friends because you spend time with them, and you go on road trips or just hang out. So yeah, you don't have to live together just to get to know someone. And I think just the concrete, the sacredness of marriage is like, you know, there's no backing out once you're married. Like my wife and I, like, this is it, you know. And when you live with someone before you're married, like, you can always just be like, all right, I'm off to the next one, you know. Or if it doesn't work out, then you're stuck in a lease. But the seriousness of how God looks at marriage, I think there's, even when you get in a fight or a disagreement, you're going to want to stay in the fight, you know. And when you're living with someone and you don't have that spiritual contract with God, then, you know, you can just always have that next person, you know, in your cell phone contacts or whatever. So I think just the spiritual bond of marriage in God's eyes makes it very concrete and very just serious. Yeah, so yeah, without it, you're just playing house, and you know, how long are you guys gonna play house? Like, put a ring on it or something, you know?
Yeah, and speaking more on like the Christian side of everything, I know of, like, you know, people who are just like, well, I know a few people who lived together and they got married and it worked out, so what's the problem? Again, this is a Christian channel, and we want to bring our perspectives as Christians. Just as my husband was sharing, it's just like, one, when you're living together with someone, as I was sharing before, like, it's just hard to remain pure. And also too, for me, I was just like, I was excited, like I was looking forward to like marrying my husband and us living together, just looking forward to all those great things. And it's just like, when you live together and you get married, it's just like, what are you looking forward to, in a sense? Because it's like, you already did everything. Like, you did everything. So you're coming into a marriage where it's just like, not to say that you can't figure out just new things to do, but I feel like it's just so special to wait, and then just thinking about all the amazing things that you guys are going to do together once you live with one another. And that was definitely something I was excited about. So I wanted to share something about my husband, and I was just like, oh, okay, he'll probably get mad at me, but I'm gonna share it. So one thing that was like a little annoying for me was just like, wherever my husband was at, and he'll leave the place, like his socks would be there without his feet. And I'm like, oh. Oh man, so that was something I was just like, okay, like, you know, put your socks away. And then like after us having that discussion, he got better at it, but that was just something that was a little annoying at first. But yeah, it wasn't too bad. How about me?
I was gonna say that she's a way better cook than I thought. Yeah, I didn't know how good of a cook she was, because she cooked for me a couple times, but I thought that was just like, you know, your special dish, but she can throw down. So that was a bonus. It wasn't just 1 or 2 meals. So yeah, I think it's better. Statistics show that you have a more likely chance of staying married if you if you don't cohabitate before marriage. But that's just one perspective. I think, you know, people, like I said, people have done it. People have lived together before marriage and it's worked out, and people are going to continue to do that. But yeah, for us, I think we just want to do things the wisest as possible. So, you know, I don't think it's outdated to wait till marriage to live together. You know, it's also, it just helps with purity. You know, it might be harder financially, but you know, I had roommates before I lived with my wife, and yeah, I think it's been fantastic. You know, it's been something to look forward to, just coming home to your wife. And yeah, I don't want to just live with someone and then get married and it's like nothing changes. You just had one big wedding, but it's the same thing. Like, marriage is special in God's eyes, and it's a blessing, and it's an honor to just come home to my wife and see her, right? So I think marriage should be something special, because it's something beyond just dating. And you know, I don't want a girlfriend, I don't want a fiance, I want a wife, and God has showed me favor in my wife. Picking up my socks. But yeah, that's our thoughts. We love you guys. We got a new camera. This isn't it, but hopefully we'll figure out this new camera, better content. And we're coming up on 1 year. Our 1 year anniversary will be September 18th. So thank you guys for all your love and support. More content coming. Love.